What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Israel Adesanya reacts to Blachowicz vs. Pereira fight. This week, UFC President Dana White dropped a bombshell on the MMA community when he went live to announce the UFC 291 card on July 29th. In the main event, Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje will compete in a highly anticipated rematch with the vacant BMF belt on the line. While in the co-main event, former UFC middleweight champion Alex Pereira will make his highly anticipated UFC light heavyweight debut against former champion Jan Blachowicz. When Pereira announced that he was moving up to light heavyweight, many predicted that in addition to cutting less weight, the fact that the division has less wrestlers would benefit him. Despite that, he now finds himself matched up with a fighter in Blachowicz who has shown a smothering top game. Ahead of the fight, middleweight champion Israel Adesanya, who has the experience of being inside the octagon with both men, gave his prediction for the fight, saying,
I think it'd be a great fight, and I don't think Conor's actually coming back. I'm pretty well convinced he's not even going to ever fight again. I think he just likes being in the spotlight. I think he likes people talking about him. He likes, being heard. He likes the ego boost, all that kind of stuff.
So far, the predictions on the fight have remained pretty split amongst the MMA community. On one hand, many believe that if Pereira can keep the fight on the feet, he can use his striking to batter the former champion en route to a big win. On the other hand, if Blachowicz is able to get the fight to the ground, Poa 10 could be in for a long night. With his sights set on becoming a two-division champion in the UFC, just like he did under the Glory Kickboxing banner, the stakes will be at an all-time high for the former champion as he moves up in weight. During a recent video for his YouTube channel, Pereira spoke about the matchup, along with the advice he's received from his longtime friend and training partner, Glover Teixeira, who defeated Blachowicz back in 2021 for the title. He is a dangerous guy, an experienced guy, and a guy we know because of my training partner, Glover Teixeira. I'm sure training hard and together with Glover, he'll pass me a lot of stuff, for sure, like he is always doing. How do you see things playing out on July 29th in Salt Lake City? Drop your predictions in the comments section below. Henry Cejduo drops prediction for O'Malley vs. Sterling. After spending 25 minutes inside the octagon with Aljamain Sterling, Henry Cejduo is confident that the Funkmaster is able to get things done when he and number one contender, Sugar Sean O'Malley, step into the octagon. With his eyes on a co-main event fight against Merab Dvalishvili on the same card, Cejduo dropped his prediction for the Sterling vs. O'Malley fight in an interview with Chamatkar Sandhu, saying,
I do believe Aljamain Sterling is going to press him, get him against the cage, and then, if he's able to take me down, he can take any of those guys down. So Sean's going to be in trouble. Sean just relies on his striking. I'm sure he works in the jiu-jitsu, but in MMA, it's just different. I do believe that Sterling's going to get on top of him and just pretty much just hurt him.
So far, the general consensus is that the winner of the fight will be determined by who can impose their game plan. With O'Malley being a notable striker and Sterling relying on his grappling and submission game, the fight seems to be a classic matchup of striker versus grappler. Although the two have verbally agreed to fight, the UFC has already announced that Sterling and O'Malley will fight in Boston at UFC 292. Despite that, the champion's coach, Ray Longo, revealed that, to his knowledge, the champion had not signed a contract for the bout. Matt Frevola thinks he's the only fight for Paddy Pimblett. Matt Frevola has been a man on a mission when it comes to attempting to lock down a fight with Paddy Pimblett. After picking up a massive victory over Drew Dober back at UFC 288, the Steamroller used his post-fight octagon interview to send a message to Pimblett. Although the streaking Scouser is still recovering from ankle surgery, Frevola wants to get the baddie back for calling him the easiest fight in the top 15. The way he sees things, if Pimblett thinks he's the easiest route to the top 15, then he should put his money where his mouth is and fight. During a recent interview with MMA Junkie Radio, Frevola went as far as to say that he's the only opponent people want to see Pimblett face inside the octagon.
Nobody cares about Paddy fighting anybody else but me. Nobody cares about him fighting Jared Gordon again. Nobody cares about him fighting some middle of the rank guy. They want him, if they want, the people want to see him fight me, and that's a fight to make.
Unfortunately for both Frevola and fight fans, Pimblett has stated that he'd be lucky to fight before the end of the year. Before we continue, make sure you give that like button some love and be sure to subscribe to the MMA Zone for all of the latest news. Dana White reveals big news. UFC President Dana White has been on a roll this week. In addition to announcing a stacked UFC 291 card, White revealed that UFC 293 will see the promotion head back to Australia on September 10th. The event will be the second down under this year, with Alexander Volkanovski and Islam Makhachev competing in Perth back in February. According to White, the UFC has struck a deal with the New South Wales government to host 3 events over the next 4 years in Sydney.
What's up, Australia? UFC President Dana White here. The UFC is coming back. We just did a deal with New South Wales government, which will bring 3 pay-per-view events to Sydney over the next 4 years. And the first of these events will be happening on September 10th this year for UFC 293.
So far, the expectation is that Israel Adesanya will headline the card, with the winner of the upcoming Robert Whittaker vs. Dricus du Plessis fight competing against him for the middleweight title. Of course, given that the fight between Whittaker and du Plessis takes place in early July, many have wondered whether or not the promotion is taking too big of a risk in hoping that the winner will be ready to fight again in 2 months' time. Tyson Fury slams Joe Rogan for recent comments. Tyson Fury isn't too happy with Joe Rogan after the longtime UFC commentator stated that Jones would destroy him in a fight. As Rogan pointed out in the clip, given Jones's grappling abilities, he would be able to dominate in a fight with the Gypsy King. Fury was quick to fire back, slamming Rogan with a barrage of insults in a video released through social media.
I heard Joe Rogan say something about me the other day and I've been off all the social media so I didn't reply to them. Little midget, bald-headed midget. I heard him say that John Jones could me up if we went in the room together. I don't think so. Not a man born from his mother can me up in a room on our own. Whatever happens in that room, I'd be walking out.
Those comments earned a quick response from John Jones himself, who admitted that although nobody could touch Tyson Fury inside a boxing ring when it comes to a straight-up fight, there's no doubt about the results. In addition, Jones also offered Fury the chance to step into the cage, suggesting that he calls Dana White if he feels like putting his money where his mouth is. Askren and Daniel Cormier debate the baddest man on the planet. Despite Francis Ngannou parting ways with the UFC, he and John Jones have continued to fire shots at one another. As a result, fuel has continued to pour on the metaphorical fire that is the baddest man on the planet debate. With Ngannou never having lost the belt inside the octagon, many believe he still deserves the ceremonial title, while others feel as though the Predator vacated the title when he vacated the belt. During a recent video for Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier's YouTube channel, he and Ben Askren weighed in on the debate, with the former Bellator and ONE champion stating,
"I think he should be able to." Now, can John argue he is also? Sure. But John can't say, "You can't do it," because John didn't fight him for 3 years.
Cormier replied by pointing out that the title has always gone to the UFC title holder, and as a result, it defaults to Jones.
How do you determine who's the baddest man on the planet? You would think
it's impossible.
But what you would think is the baddest man on the planet is the heavyweight champion in the biggest organization.
Yeah.
Right? That's John Jones.
What do you think? Should the title of baddest man on the planet default to the UFC heavyweight champion? Or should Ngannou still deserve consideration given that he vacated the UFC championship instead of outright losing it in the cage? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. And now for our breaking news story of the day. We have Dana White getting exposed by Paulo Costa. Dana White announced recently that Paulo Costa will take on Ikram Aliskerov at UFC 291. A fan questioned Paulo Costa on Twitter saying, "Are you fighting Ikram or is UFC lying again?" To which Paulo responded to the fan saying that the UFC is lying. What do you think of the situation? Do you think this is a tactic Dana White is using to steal the spotlight from Francis Ngannou's recent announcement? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell to stay up to date with MMA news every day. Here are the top comments from yesterday's video. DC will be removed from commentary for saying Francis set a new standard. Imagine it was Jones versus Ngannou for the BMF belt. Dana trying to sabotage Francis news was like the power slap of announcements. Justin and Dustin is a banger. I couldn't choose the winner, they both my favorite fighters. And those were the top comments from yesterday's video. If you want to be featured on our next video, make sure to leave a comment and don't forget to check out yesterday's video in case you missed it.